free agency wire. So, you know, he knows what he's doing. Those guys had huge career years last year.
Yeah, Phillip Rivers came back strong last year, had the top 5 in the QB rankings, and surprised a lot of people. Wasn't drafted in most leagues, so that was a big key acquisition for Baggett. So if he can do something like that again this year, who knows?
I mean, let's get him out. Let's get out of 6th place. That's your best finish, 2010. Let's pick it up a little bit.
2010 best finish, 6th place, Baggett. So you'll be looking to improve upon that this year. We know you can do it, and we'll be looking forward to seeing you in the draft. Your bingo ball number will be B8 or ball number 8 with ourselves. Best of luck to you this year. You'll be number 8. Going down to the person who finished number 9, strong arm robbery, another veteran of the fantasy football world. He's expecting a lot more than 9th place this year, I can tell you that. What do you guys think, what do you think he's going to be able to do to change things around to get out of that 9th spot to go ahead and improve upon his year last year?
I mean, let's just say injuries. The guy had injuries out of the kazoo last year. He had Doug Martin, first round pick injured. Then he had Romo, Gronk. I mean, his whole team went down last year, basically. I mean, he knew going in Gronk wasn't going to be 100%, but hey, that's a risky take.
Gronk's going around the 3rd round right now. I've seen him slip to 4th. I've seen some people take a risk on him as high as 2. Do you think Gronk's someone he aims for again this year, or is he
I don't know. I think
moving on past that?
I think that's too much damage done right there.
Too much damage?
I mean, same thing happened with me with Jamal Charles a couple of years ago in my last league. I mean, picked him up, 2nd weekend, got an ACL tear out for the season, and then last year came out strong. I mean, it's possible you can make a good return, but it's improbable at the tight end.
So he's going to be looking to get guys that are healthy, get guys that are staying healthy, and that's just going to take him out of the 9th spot. Because typically he's not down that low. He's usually fighting from the middle to the top. So we're expecting a lot more out of you there, Brad. Strong arm robbery, you'll be number 9. Best of luck to you as well. Let's go ahead and move on to the number 10 spot. 2012 the champs. Not sure where the name came from. It's 2 years from 2012, and he wasn't the champ. But hey, 2012 the champs. We're going to talk about you anyways, buddy. Last year was the baseball champion. He's going to go ahead and move to football this year. Rumor on the street is that he may not even make the draft. No one's really sure what's going on with him right now. We're very disappointed in that. But nonetheless, finished 10th last year. If he skips the draft again this year, I can't see much improvement upon that, so he may just be giving us $50. But anyways, 6-7 record. Took Ray Rice with the 4th position. Ray Rice had a horrible year, but he is a big Baltimore fan. I could see him maybe taking Ray Rice in the 2nd or 3rd round this year. Definitely not the 1st. But I'm not sure if he's a fan of women beaters or if it's just the Baltimore team that he likes. But
maybe you can pick up Damian Berry then.
Damian Berry. We'll see where Rick goes with Rick. You weren't too far back in terms of total points, around 1,200 points, which was around 7th most in the league. So above your 10th place finish. That was your first year in the league. You had win streaks actually of 5 games, the 2nd longest win streak in the league, and then also a losing streak of 5 games. So we'll see what we can move upon that. You had a great acquisition in Pierre Garçon in the 7th round. That was arguably your best pick within the draft. So we'll see how you can do that. See if you can move forward from 10th this year. Rick, you'll be the number 10 bingo ball, 2012 the champs, number 10.
Good luck.
You said it all. I mean, there's not much more to say right
Not much more to say after that. That was my guy to cover there. So let's go ahead and move on to number 11. Number 11, Racist Riley's, Alex Williams.
Horrible team. Horrible team.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't that your team was horrible. You had an 11th place finish. You were just 1 win away from actually squeaking into possibly into that playoff picture, 6-7. You finished at 5-8. 6-7 gets you right into that playoff picture. So you weren't far off with the team you had. You did pick Arian Foster with the 5th pick. How are you going to go ahead and change your mindset this year, or is that someone you're aiming for again this year? He's going around anywhere between 8 to 12. Is that someone you're looking at again, Arian Foster?
I mean, last year I missed the first 5 rounds. I was at class, so hopefully I don't get Arian Foster again.
Well, this year the draft being on a Sunday, hopefully you don't have school on Sunday. So who are you looking at possibly taking in the 1st round right now?
I don't want to go too much on draft strategy, but receivers are they're hot commodity 1st round keeper leagues.
So maybe skipping the running back this year, going receiver.
Who knows? I mean, you see LaShawn McCoy, Jamal Charles, Adrian Peterson up there. You gotta like those guys. So.
Yeah, I mean, with running backs, they're always coming in during the draft. They're always going to come in, new guys. But I mean, wide receiver, that's a position that's going to be solid. It has to stay solid.
So wide receiver, that's a great great idea going into it. I'm not sure if I believe you or not. I still think you may go running back because you've done the last few years. But a career record of 27-24, Alex, you're always hanging right around 500, if not better. In 2012, you actually had a 2nd place finish. That's your best career finish, just right there from being a champion. Brian took you down that year barely. He had a great team. Last year you had win streaks of 2, you had a losing streak of 3. You were kind of back and forth between being 500. You know, is there anything you're going to do differently deeper in the draft to go ahead and get yourself into the 500 and over range?
Just gonna try to draft good players. Let's see what.
As simple as that.
See how it falls. I'm ready to see the draft order.
It's the second time he says that.
We looked into the acquisitions. Alex, you led the league again in acquisitions. I think you've been in the top 3 in acquisitions nearly every year. Is that something maybe you look at honing down and cutting down on those acquisitions, maybe sit with the guys that you draft, or is that something you plan to improve upon and maybe take more guys? What are you looking at doing there?
Definitely got to cut it down. You know, as I learned from baseball, I traded away all the talent. You know.
Yeah, no, I agree. Sometimes you got to be patient, not at all times, but the great owners know when to make the moves and when to make them at the right time. So we'll see if you can cut back on that. So Alex, you'll be number 11. Let's go ahead and move to number 12. A guy who has potential to get into the top 5 every year, but lately has been in the bottom of the basement. Peter Fitzenwell, Ed Llewellyn. He's number 12. What do you guys got on Ed, and how do you see him performing this year?
Well, he finished last year with a record of 5-8. He drafted out of the 11th spot, and key acquisitions, he picked up Alfred Morris in the first round. And that was his first pick. That was a pretty good
Solid pick.
And throughout the draft, he picked up Nashawn Moreno.
Yeah, no, Sean Moreno,
And
great
Antonio
year.
Brown.
Antonio Brown, another stud, going in the top 30 picks again.
He had
this
a
year.
really good, solid team, but I guess just the weekly matchups just wasn't right. I mean,
And that's all it really is about in the weekly format is getting a matchup that is in your favor. So if you face somebody like last year, like Graham Cracker Crunch or No More Tears that was putting up over 100 every week, it's difficult to win. So it's sometimes, like you said, it's tough. To see players like that and to know where he's been, it's tough to see that he actually finished with that kind of record. But so Ed, there's potential there to improve upon that. You finished 12th last year. Let's see if you can go ahead and do a little bit better this year. Best of luck to you. You'll be number 12. Bingo ball number 12. Now we start with the new guys. We got Matt out of Texas, the art of offense. We know what he has in baseball. He's done very well in baseball. He seems like a football guy, big Baylor fan. Let's see, what do you guys have on Matt, and do you see him, being in the top 5 of football as well?
I mean, anything's possible. I mean, look at me. Last year I was a new guy, finished 4th. I really believe these guys could bring something special to this league.
Yeah, I was taking what he's done in baseball. Do you think that translates to football, or is it completely different?
It's different, but he seems to know what he's doing out there. He always seems to, the baseball he drafts well and
Made some key moves and he's on there. So Matt, welcome to the league. You'll be number 13. I'm glad to have you in football. We're going to go ahead and move to our number 14 bingo ball. We're getting close to that draft time now, guys. Number 14 is Dana, illegal crackback, a Cape Coral native, if you will. Recently moved to baseball. Now he's in football as well. Again, another solid owner. Pays a lot of attention to his team. Very active in the forums and also with acquisition. How do you guys see him in football this year as well? I think right now he's in 3rd or 4th in the National League, or 3rd or 4th overall in baseball. Again, you think that translates to football, or is this something that he's doing in baseball? I see him taking some veterans in baseball. He's a solid veteran. So few you guys, but his core group of guys are veterans. Is that something you guys would always want football, or would you go alone?
I don't know. I don't think you can do the same thing in football with veterans because veterans will get old and get even
Shorter lifespan in football, 5 to 6 years, right?
We'll see though.
Okay, well, best of luck to you, Dana. Again, we're glad to have you and Matt. You will be number 14, bingo ball number 14, the legal crackback block. So, again, we talked about how the keeper league is different from the dealer league. I just wanted to run over the top 10 picks real quick, or excuse me, the top 10 rankings. There's lists on ESPN.com, CBS, and a lot of these are different, but I just wanted to run over the top. Actually, I guess I'll do the top 14 picks that ESPN has placed here for us, and let's see what differences we have in the actual draft. So, number 1, they have LaShawn McCoy of the Eagles. Fantastic year last year. Young guy, Chip Kelly offense. We can see where that comes from. Next, number 2, a little bit older, but still obviously a stud, Calvin Johnson, Detroit Lions. They got a few additions, Golden Tate and stuff like that, coaching changes, maybe running a little bit more with Joyke Bell and Reggie Bush, but you can't go wrong with Calvin Johnson.
Could be the best receiver in NFL history.
Arguably, I mean, talent-wise, it's hard to argue with what he offers. So, Number 3, a guy who's very similar to him, maybe not necessarily the leaping ability, but pure talent. You can't argue with Dez Bryant of the Dallas Cowboys, number 3.
I mean, as long as you got Tony Romo just launching it down to you, I mean, I don't see a problem.
I see a problem in Roma.
So Romo, we'll see if they can improve upon their 8-8 season. Number 4, Cincinnati Bengals, A.J. Green, another stud receiver. We're starting to see a trend here with the receivers. Maybe that's where the league's moving towards. A.J. Green, or would you take A.J. Green above Calvin Johnson or Dez Bryant, or do you think that ranking falls in line?
No, I mean, you got Andy Dalton as a quarterback. I don't know. It's
Coaching
very
change.
inconsistent, though.
Coach change again.
I don't know.
So
We'll see,
you
though.
think it's kind of okay? Well, A.J. Green, number 4. Julio Jones, number 5, coming off a big injury. I'm a huge Julio Jones fan, as many of you may know. One of the most athletic guys in the league as far as running and yards after catch. Julio Jones coming off that foot injury. Do you guys think he bounces back, or does he have that injury plague him all year?
We'll see. I mean, he did have he might get another injury this year, I think. But the Falcons don't have a bunch of receivers. I mean, they have
Roddy White,
and Harry Douglas, who I picked up last year, and he got me about 60 or 80 points. So
Harry Douglas, we'll see how he stays with the program now that Julio's back. So Julio Jones, number 5. We'll go ahead and get moving down this list. Jimmy Graham, number 6. We all know what Jimmy Graham's gone through in the offseason, wide receiver, tight end deal. I think he's going to be put in the slot more often this year, and eventually will be considered a wide receiver. He's already gotten 2 penalties in the preseason for dunking. Do you guys think he continues to dunk?
Yes, I believe he will continue to dunk. It's going to get on a lot of refs' nerves, but hey, if the refs don't like it, try to block it.
That dunk is basically a middle finger to Roger Goodell. So number 7, Green Bay Packers, Eddie Lacy, big solid running back, not as big or his notoriety is coming out of Alabama as say Mark Ingram or Trent Richardson, but arguably the best player to come out of Alabama in recent memory.
Production-wise, definitely.
Great situation.
He's outproduced Mark Ingram and Trent Richardson over the past, his rookie year, basically.
Eddie Lacy, big-time acquisition as far as keeper leagues are going forward. We'll see if he has a big year this year. Number 8 could be dependent on his quarterback situation going forward as far as keeper rankings, but as far as raw talent, again, he's clearly in the top 10 here. Demaryius Thomas, the Denver Broncos. Do you think he continues that success over the coming years, or is that something that is predicated upon when Peyton Manning retires?
I don't know. Peyton Manning, I think, will have 3 more seasons, and Demaryius Thomas will stay consistent with that.
Yeah, so if that's the case, 2-3 more seasons, that's plenty as far as the keeper is concerned, and that would be fantastic for Demaryius Thomas owners.
I think Elway is gonna
keep bringing other people in.
Bring quarterback talent in there.
I can't disagree with that. Number 9, considered one of the top players on our cameraman's board here, Alshon Jeffrey, the Chicago Bears, came in, played fantastic, 200, 300 more receiving yards than Brandon Marshall. Actually had more touchdown targets than Brandon Marshall, but only came down with about 4 less than him. Do you see him stepping up and becoming a better player than Brandon Marshall, or does he kind of take that back seat to Brandon Marshall still until he leaves?
No way. I think he's taking off this year. Definitely.
Jay Cutler throwing it all over the place.
Brandon Marshall is just... Who's that?
Yeah.
That's
so Alshon Jeffrey's out here board. Yeah, he's climbing up draft board, so we'll see where he falls. Let's round out the next 5 picks. Jamal Charles, stud. Some knee questions. Last few years. Last year came out and surprised everyone. Bounced back to a fantastic year. Arguably the best fantasy year of any player. Do you see Jamal Charles doing that again?
He's a big part of Kansas City offense. He broke his teammate's ankle already in practice. Ankle surgery already, so let's see what he does.
I don't know. We'll see. I mean, he got put to work last year, but I don't know. It might backfire this year. They try to do the same thing.
A lot of workload last year. We'll see if maybe some of his backups come into play. Do some research, guys. Figure out who that is. Giovanni Bernard, number 11. Not the largest guy on the field, but quick. In a solid back that improved as the year went on. Do you think Jeremy Hill gives him a little bit of competition towards the red zone coming from LSU, or do you think Giovanni Bernard becomes the number 1 back and gets those opportunities to score touchdowns as well as yards?
I definitely think he's going to solidify that number 1 spot, but again, like you said, Jeremy Hill, he's coming in big, strong, and fast. He's going to take
some carries.
Yeah, he's going to take some carries, definitely.
No, I agree. So Giovanni Bernard, another stud, top 15 pick as far as dynasty rankings are concerned. Again, you'll have to maybe figure out your own rankings and how you want to go about your team. We don't necessarily recommend that you draft these guys in this order, but it's just another tool to go ahead and analyze this year. Number 12, another guy that's situational, that personally I'm not a big fan of, but I know he's got great opportunity, great ability. Where do you guys see Monty Ball of the Denver Broncos? How do you think he does this year?
I don't know. I think it's going to be hard with Peyton Manning in that pass offense. I mean, he might not get as many rushes, but he definitely will get a lot of receptions.
I mean, when they get up 30 points.